Trust yourself more than you trust others. Because at the end of the day, the only person that you're going to be with the rest of your life is you. It's not your parents. It's not your friends. It's not your brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, grandparents, nobody. It's only going to be you. And if you're religious, some people would probably say God, but I'm talking about just people on the earth. The only person you're ever going to be with for your whole life is yourself. So what you need to do is trust yourself. Trust yourself trust yourself more than others. And not like, and I mean like that as in you need to trust in your own person than you trust other people. I'm not talking about if they trust you or whatever, but and basically what I mean is like have some more faith in yourself. Believe that you can do the things that you want. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you're the only person that's gonna be with you forever. So you need to have as much trust in yourself as possible to make those things come true. If you don't trust yourself and you don't believe in yourself that you can do anything, then you won't. It all starts in your belief in something, and that's what grows into when you take action on certain activities, objectives, dreams, whatever. That's going to be the thing that starts. That's the starter of everything. There's a belief, there's a thought, and then there's an action. Whether or not that action comes to be good or bad, that's up to you to decide because it's all on you. You got to realize that no one's honestly coming to save you. And even if there is, I think you should really develop the mindset of just thinking that no one is coming to save you. That way you're not relying on anybody else. You can just rely on yourself as an independent. And I think you have way more to benefit from relying on yourself than you do on others, because it's going to drive you to do a lot more things in life, whereas sitting around and waiting for other people to do it for you. Take accountability, take responsibility for yourself and your own actions, and just start taking over your own life. Stop letting everybody run it for you. At some point, it's going to be like a wake-up call to yourself, whether that's this video or something else of that nature that makes you really realize that you should start owning your life. Stop letting everybody else own it for you. I feel like you're definitely going to feel a lot better about yourself the moment you actually start having faith in yourself a little bit. Like start just try something and see how it goes. That's pretty much as simple as it's going to get. Try it, see how it goes, and if it goes well, then great. If it doesn't, ask yourself, what could I have done that could have been better in the situation? Or what did I do that made it not a perfect outcome or not a positive outcome? And then ask yourself, is it worth it to try it again? Or is it not worth it to try it again? Do you think you lose more if you try it again, or do you think you gain more if you try it again? That's up to you to decide. Or you realize it's not for you, and that could be in anything. Everybody has their own goals. Everybody has their own dreams, their things they want to do in life. So I can't really put all in one clip or one sentence. So yeah, everybody has their own goals. Everybody has their own accomplishments that they want to do, their own successes. Some people want to start a business. Some people want to do social media. Some people want to do both. Some people want to start a family, and that's their goal. But none of this is really possible, or I shouldn't say possible. None of this is going to be easier if you rely on somebody else to do it for you. It will be easier if you rely on yourself, because that means you don't have a time, you don't have to wait for somebody else to do it for you. You can do it whenever you want. And that's really it. And time is money, so the faster you can start, the better, right? And then you learn more on the way, and you pretty much gain everything. And then after you do these accomplishments, you'll have even more trust in yourself, and then you can do even crazier things in your life. obviously you want to make sure the things you're doing is smart and not dumb. You don't want to like get locked up or something, but just make sure that, you know, you just, you can look in the mirror and you can look at that person and trust in that person. Because in reality, if you can't look yourself in the mirror and you can't look at yourself and not trust the person that you see looking back at you, how do you expect anybody else to trust you either? Like, realistically, it's like, if we're being honest, it's like listening to someone who's poor talk to you about financial advice. If we're all being honest people here, no one's listening to them. You're just not. If two people came up to you, one was homeless and one was extremely rich and wealthy and has successful whatever. He's successful at whatever he does. Who are you more apt to listen to when it comes to financial advice? Pretty obvious answer. You're going to listen to the rich guy because he's rich. You know, he has the evidence behind it to back it up. Whereas the other guy, he might have the right idea, he might have the right topic, but if you don't have the evidence behind it, no one's going to listen to you. So it's kind of the same thing in this. If you don't have the evidence that you trust in yourself, and people can't see that, how do you expect anybody to trust in you? If you can't even trust yourself, how do you expect anybody to trust in you? Like, realistically. Because if you're already letting yourself down, what are you going to be able to do for other people? I mean, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. If you can't figure out your own problems, why are you trying to figure out other people's problems? Fix your thing first. Sometimes it's good to be a little self-centered. At some point, it has to happen. Everybody who thinks working on yourself is like selfish or whatever, it's bullshit. Don't fucking listen to them. There's no point. Improve on yourself, trust in yourself, have a little bit of faith. Go do the things that you, let's say you even have a thing that you don't even believe in yourself, like to the max. Go try it, and you might just build up trust in yourself by doing that. Doing something you would never think you could ever do. I could tell you an example that I did, like last summer. So where I live, we have a water park that's like, it's like an hour away from where I'm at. And at this water park, it's like an outdoor, it has the high dives. It has like a 10-foot with the diving board, and then a 20-foot and a 30-foot. When I first came to this water park, like ever, and that was like 3-4 years ago, I could barely get myself to go off the 20-foot. And then slowly, I worked up my trust, because at first, when I first look at that stuff and I see people doing all this crazy stuff, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'd ever do that. But when I started working myself up, so like first, even 10-foot, I'm not going to lie, it was a little scary at first because I've never done anything like that. But then when I did that, I'm like, okay, it wasn't so bad. What's 20 like? I did 20-foot, and I was like, okay, that kind of hurt because before I landed in the water, I lifted up my arm a little bit, and then it just smacked, and it was like rock hard after. Yeah, it was not a good experience. So I obviously didn't go off the 30-foot after that. But I think it was like the third time I went, I got the courage to go off the 30. I had to do the thing like people count down for you and all that, and it was like crazy or whatever. I go off of it. Now I literally just can sprint off it with ease. Like, it's no problem, no issue or anything. And then I had a bright idea to do a backflip off the 10. I did it. I smacked my back. And then like a year later, I tried again on the 10. I landed it. I was like, okay. So I'm building my trust in myself. Even though I failed the last time and it took me a while to do it again because it hurt, I built my trust because I was like, okay, I can do it. So I was like, what about 20-foot? And my first time off 20, obviously you have these thoughts in your head because you don't trust yourself because it's something completely new. You'll be like, yeah, I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to land on my back. I'm going to belly flop. I'm going to get really, really hurt. And I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. So I had a buddy. We made a deal with each other that if he did it, I was going to do it too. So that's what he did. He did it. He landed his first time ever. I did mine. Landed mine first time ever. Didn't flop or anything. I was like, oh, shit. crazy. And then I did it again and again and again. And it was like really fun. I actually trust myself. So now, any point in time, I can just whip a backflip off, and I'm good. And then I had another bright idea. I was like, oh, what if I could step this up a notch? Let me do a backflip off the 30 foot. And at first, when I first thought about this idea, I was like, yeah, no way. Because I didn't have enough trust in myself to do something like that. And then I had an older guy come up to me, and he did it, and he was like, he seen me do off 20, and he was like, why don't you try it off 30? And I was like, I don't know, that's pretty scary or whatever. And it was terrifying. If anybody's done like cliff diving or whatever, and doing backflips off that height for the first time, it's just scary shit. Because like if you land wrong, it hurts. And especially when you get those really high heights, like 50 foot, 60, and you land wrong, you can really, really get hurt. So I was like, I don't know, I don't think I could do it. And he's like, I'm not even kidding. This is exactly what he said. He said, if you die, you die. And I was like, Now, first it sounds stupid, right? Because it's like, nobody wants to die. But he's giving me an example of like a mindset. He's like, who cares? If you flop like off 30, I don't think you'll go to the hospital, but I think if you flop, it was going to hurt a lot. Because my friend did it. Backflip, backflopped off 30. Terrible. He literally did a backflip and then he landed on his back. Yeah, bad. But anyways, I was like, screw it. And he's like, here, I'll do it, and then you do it after me. And I was like, all right. He did it. He was really good at this stuff, so it was easy for him. Did it, and it was my turn. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to do this, but then eventually I was like, all right, give me a countdown. And if you're into this thing, everybody knows it. Like when you get a countdown, you can't not do it. You have to do it. Like if you walk off, the walk of shame is just terrible. It's worse than if you flopped, honestly. So I sat at the edge. I stood there. I was like, give me a 10-second countdown. They gave it, and then I heard one, and then and then, dude, it feels like you're like flying in the air. It's crazy shit. But then I did it, and I'm not gonna say like I didn't have like a perfect landing or my flip was amazing. It wasn't. But I did the backflip. I landed. I didn't flop or anything. I didn't get hurt. Came out. I did it a second time. Landed even better. And if you asked me that 4 years ago, I would have told you, yeah, you're insane. I would never do something like that. So think about that. Like, it all takes time to build trust in yourself. And that's just an example. There's so many other examples too. But me personally, that's something that I had to go through like recently. If you asked me 4 years ago if I could do a backflip off 30, I would tell you you're insane and that I would never do something like that. 4 years later, I'm actually able to do it, and I'll tell you I can do it. So it's a dumb example, but what I'm saying is simple things like that, or extreme things like other things like business or money, financial, whatever, the more trust you have in yourself, the better. So really just, it's cool to be dependent every now and then, but stay like independent for the most part. I promise you, your life will be so much better. Start trusting yourself a lot more in just anything, even like the scary stuff you've never done before. Because like, for example, I would have told you you're insane and I would never do something like that, and I ended up doing it. So you can even surprise yourself sometimes. So gain some trust, gain some faith, and remember that life isn't too short to make a change.